I think we're waiting for one more member, but I'm going to go ahead and start without him, and then if he needs to, he can listen to the tape and help us decide. Hopefully he'll be here soon. This is a continuation of a hearing on the appeal of the landowner Frederick Watson, 82 East Washington Street, located in a single-family residential district. And this appeals the zoning administrator's issuance of zoning permit number ZH240001 relating to the establishment of a home occupation under section 31-403 of the city's land use development regulations. And so we'll continue the hearing, and I assume that everyone has had a chance to go over the additional information that was provided by the landowner. And what we'll do is, if you have any questions concerning that information, then now is the time to ask. I just also want to remind everybody that if you were sworn in at the last hearing, that you're still under oath, and so we won't do that. Is there anyone here that was not sworn in at the last hearing that may wish to give some sort of testimony? Okay, then we'll just proceed accordingly. And Mr. Watkins, I would just ask you that the information that you gave me at the site visit, you would like us to put that as evidence in your case?
Yes.
That's correct? Yes.
That's correct.
Okay. And so that we'll take it as presented by the applicant or by Mr. Watkins to add to his application. So does the board at this point in time have any questions? Jim?
No, Steve just asked me if we needed him,
Yes.
so I said yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I can't hear him.
No, he just was trying to get in touch with Steve. Mr. Bixby, at this point in time, we'll kind of wait until Steve gets back, but do you have any questions, or do you have any testimony that you would like to give at this point in time?
I do, and I do just have a procedural question first. I just want to make sure for the record there is a quorum of the board.
There is. We'd like Steve to come because he was here last time and he went to the site visit, so.
I just want to make sure we can proceed without.
Yes, we can proceed.
Okay, thank you. And I also just want to note for the record that Mr. Watkins was represented by counsel at the last hearing, and I just want to note that there is no counsel here. And
Yes, Mr. Watkins has indicated to me that his counsel is not coming tonight. Is that correct, Mr. Watkins?
Correct.
so I just have a few questions, and I'd just like to list the questions, and then, if I may, provide just a summary of the arguments for Ms. Kelley, if that's okay.
For what? I'm sorry.
Susan Kelley.
Oh, yes. Okay.
All right, thank you. So I'd just like to know specifically what kind of lights are going to be used inside, and the consideration here is the amount of heat that would be projected from those. What is the amperage coming into the building? Is it?
Okay, well, you want one question at a time?
I can list my questions and then do my summation. I'll be glad to wait for the answers, or?
Well, I think it'll be easier if you go one question at a
Fair
time
enough.
and let Mr. Watkins answer the question.
Fair enough. So the question is regarding the specific lights that are going to be used inside the building to grow.
Or grow lights.
Are they
Specific brand name
LED
is
lights
Mammoth
or
and
they
they're
halogen?
Can I talk? Brand name is Mammoth, they're LEDs.
Thank you. The next question is, what is the amperage coming into the building? Is it 220?
I have a 200 watt service. 200 amp service coming into the building, yes.
Just follow up on the cooling system. Specifically, is there going to be a condenser unit or
Yeah,
air
mini
conditioning?
split.
Oh, if I can finish my question, please. Is it going to be a condenser unit on the outside of the building or an air conditioning unit on the outside of the building?
There'll be mini splits on the outside of the building,
Can you explain what a mini split is?
just like your heat pumps that you have at your house.
I do
Same
not
thing.
have heat pumps, so,
Excuse me?
I do not have heat
Oh,
pumps.
well, it's the same thing that you see around all over the city.
Okay.
How many will there be?
There'll be a total of 4. Really 2 mini splits, sorry. So a mini
Well-
split has 2 compressors.
Okay, so it'll be 4 of the compressor units on the outside, or just 2?
There'll be 2, but they're splits into, one unit is 2. Does that make sense?
I see, yes, okay.
So you'll only see 2.
And just quick, while
Absolutely.
we're on this, I just thought of these questions, I'm sorry.
Sure.
Will they be attached to the building or next to the building?
They'll be sitting next to it on a pad
Okay.
that they provide. It's a polyethylene pad that they provide. at
Yeah,
the
yeah.
web.
No, I'm familiar with that
Yeah.
because I have them on my house, but some people have them, attached to the building, so I just was wondering, okay.
Regards to drainage, during the site visit, I did not see any drainage in the structure. Will there be any drains in the structure itself?
Yes, there was a drain while you were at the site. You just didn't see it. It's actually in the bathroom.
All right, those are the only questions. I have one final. Do you have a city wastewater permit for the runoff from the water and the grow operation?
I applied for a city permit, and that's how I was able to hook it up.
Okay.
About the, are you finished or not? I'm sorry.
I'm finished with my questions.
Oh, okay. I have, how do you irrigate the, is it hydroponic? Is it just, you
It's
spray
just
the
water.
water, what?
It's water, deep water.
Okay, so
Cultivation. They're inside 8-gallon containers provided by Current Culture. I provided that info
Okay,
in the packet.
all right, that's what I
Yep.
thought. I just wanted
Yep.
a little bit of explanation. But how does the water get in there? I mean, you just put it in there
Buy
with
it
a
from the
hose?
city.
Okay, but I didn't know if it was
I filter it.
circulated or
No,
anything.
it's just a regular, like an RV filter it runs through. You
Okay,
can buy it at the local Walmart.
okay.
Thank you. So I would just want to make sure the board is aware that I had submitted photographs that were submitted prior to today.
You mean originally?
No, subsequent, I provided these to the zoning administrator as of, I believe it was last week, last Thursday, Friday.
Oh, here. Were copies made for everybody or not?
We didn't make copies of those, so they relate to the steps that are being built on the outside structure, so the DRB probably saw them when they were on the site visit. Are those-
Did you send copies to Mr.
I
Watson?
presume that the zoning administrator, I gave them to them for the board, so I would have presumed that, that it would have been provided to the whole board for this proceeding. That's why I gave it to them. I can make copies if you wish.
Well, I think Mr. Watson needs to look at them.
Well,
if you're gonna talk
I-
about them.
I was under the impression it would have been shared with all the parties once they provided it to
Yeah,
them.
okay, well, we're going to take a little bit of a break and we'll get copies.
I sp-
You can shut that off for a sec, if you will. I guess it doesn't matter.
I can continue while he's making the
Okay,
copies, if you
all
will.
right.
So there are 3 photographs dated April 19th, 2024, April 25th, and 2 photographs on April 25th, 2024. And it just shows a workman working on the steps, the stairs, when Mr. Watkins did not have a permit to do so. And then the 25th shows further structure of the stairs that were done. And for the record, as of last weekend, those stairs have been completed without a permit. On April 26th, there was a zoning permit. So there's no building permit issued for the steps, but there was a zoning permit issued April 26, 2024. And I also filed this with the zoning administrator, so I hope that's part of the record as well, which specifically states that no construction shall commence prior to the end of the 15-day appeal period from 4/26. And there's evidence that construction was taking place before that date. There was also the amended permit that was done, although the amended permit does not say when the amendment was specifically done, but I made that part of the record as well. So I just want to make sure those things were part for your
Is that with
review.
the photographs? I didn't see
They
that.
were before I submitted the photographs, so, and again, if you need copies, I can provide them.
Okay, so there, it's in here, it's not different. No, I think there were just photographs in there. Okay, would you please give Mr. Watson those? This said April 8th. This is the, I don't know. No, he was,
My apologies, guys. Thanks for telling me.
Yeah, you were under 10.
So I just want to make sure those are part of the record.
okay, I want to make sure they should be in here anyway. I didn't see them, so that's why I'm-
They're Perry Mason copy.
So you have the building permit application,
Read this if you can.
which was amended. It's 2 pages. There's no, it has the application date of 3/21/2024.
3/21?
2024, yes, ma'am.
Was that for the steps?
This was an amendment to the original permit, building permit, and it says amend permit to include a second floor egress stairway with 6x10 landing on the second floor and 5x6 landing on the first floor.
I see that. Yes,
Okay.
it's here.
Okay, great. And then the other document was the City of Rutland zoning permit, which has approval date 4/26/2024, appeal date 5/11/2024.
No.
Are you finished?
I just want to make sure that.
Yeah, I think that we have everything.
Okay, great, thank you.
That was part of the city records anyway, so.
I just want to make sure that it was.
Mr. Watkins, did you have a chance to look at the photographs? Are they accurate?
Yeah?
So we'll accept those then.
Thank you. So the Cannabis Control Board put out a guidance for municipalities in January of 2022. And in there, under Municipality Regulatory Authority, it says that cannabis establishments are subject to the same zoning rules and ordinances that apply to any business. And that's under 24 VSA 4414. And it goes on to state a municipality may regulate a cannabis business as a public nuisance under 24 VSA 2291. And as part of the appeal, we have noise issues with Mr. Watkins' business due to the mechanical operation. Now we learn that there are going to be pumps operating on the outside of the building. You'll have a smell and an odor. Even with the carbon filters, cannot eliminate all the smells. A municipality may require cannabis establishments to operate within a particular zoning designation. And this is why classification matters. So how this business is classified is very important. Is it a cottage industry? Is it light industrial? What is this classification? And that needs to be decided by this board. If this board believes that Mr. Watkins has been forthright, followed all the rules, done what was required of him, and that a marijuana grow, packaging, and distribution warehouse fits into the character of a residential neighborhood, then you should uphold this permit. If, on the other hand, you believe, as I do, as Susan Kelley does, as the 50 residents that signed a petition against this business, then you should revoke this permit. Mr. Watkins began construction of the structure without a permit. It was only when someone reported him that a permit was sought. When Mr. Watkins sought the permit, he sought a permit to build a garage with no garage door. Mr. Watkins sought this permit, obtained this permit under false pretenses. Mr. Watkins has intentionally misled the zoning administrator, not once, but several times. And these are grounds in and of themselves to revoke this permit. The true intent all along has been a marijuana grow and wholesale business. That's clear. Mr. Watkins believes he is above the law. This is based on his own admissions that's documented by the zoning administrator, that he has done businesses in the past without seeking building permits. His constant disregard for the zoning and permitting requirements by continuing to build without permits speaks volumes. Adding to the structure, when he signed a city permit form stating that there would be no further additions to the building, is another intent to deceive. Mr. Watkins added 2 platforms. He added a stairwell with no building permits. In fact, as of the other day, the permitting signs that were on the property are now gone. So there is now no notice to the neighbors about the appeal period. Mr. Watkins' conduct, both past and present, indicates that there can be no conditions that this board could be placed upon him or his business because he will not follow them. We contend that Mr. Watkins is over the 25% limitation. In fact, at the start of the hearing, we were provided with a document that calculates under one scenario that he is at 27%. That is grounds to revoke this permit. The property where the structure is located is not subservient to the home. It is on its own lot. These lots have not been merged. Again, this is an easy basis to revoke the permit and not to have to get into a debate of whether or not such a business should be in a residential neighborhood because he does not meet the home business definition. There is his abuse of the zoning staff.
I'm sorry, that's not part of this permit.
Well, it's
Please don't go there.
based upon the foregoing arguments, you must find in favor of the appellants and revoke the zoning permit. We're a nation of laws. We're a state of laws. We are a city of laws. If you allow Mr. Watkins his permit to stand, then it's a flagrant disregard for the city ordinances. It's a roadmap for others to disregard the city ordinances. And zoning will have no meaning or effect. That is the power of the zoning administrator, which was not done in this case. But it is within the power of this board to do what the zoning administrator did not do. To say no to Mr. Watkins. To say that you have obtained a permit under false pretenses. You have misled on permit forms. You must follow the rules, and because you have not, your permit is revoked. There has been precedent for prior boards and zoning administrators to shut down businesses and to take down non-conforming structures. If you allow Mr. Watkins this permit, then no residential neighborhood is safe from a cannabis grow and warehouse in its neighborhood. If this were a baseball game, Mr. Watkins would have struck out several times over. You are volunteers. You have families and homes. You have the power to stop this plight in its tracks. You have the future of Rutland City in your hands. And by your decision, in this case, it is a watershed case. You can look back years from now and say, I stood up for the residents and revoked this permit. We ask that you use this power justly and revoke the zoning permit for a home business of Mr. Watkins. And I thank you on behalf of Susan Kelley. She thanks you for your time and consideration of this matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any questions of Mr. Bixby? All right. Mr. Watkins, do you have any questions? Okay. And I have a couple of questions about your stairways. Are there roofs on the, is there a roof on the upper part of the stairway?
No.
So in the winter, to get from the bottom to the top of your inside area, you're going to have to shovel everything, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there a
What?
reason for that question?
Huh?
Is there a reason for that question?
Well, yeah, it just seems kind of strange that you decided to put the stairway on the outside rather than the inside. That's all. It seems like it's a kind of a dangerous situation to...
It's on the gable end, so there's nothing that's falling on you.
Yeah.
Unless the sky will.
Okay. So okay, I didn't notice that. I should have noticed
Yeah,
that.
it's on the gable end, so it's not like it's on the slope of the roof.
Also, in the last hearing, you testified that you had a property over on Cleveland Avenue, I believe?
Yes.
How come you decided to put your...
Floodplain.
Pardon?
It's in the floodplain.
But it's an existing building, right?
It's also already an existing business.
Pardon?
It's already an existing business there.
What business is there?
Otter Creek Towing and Auto Repairs.
Ah, okay, all right, all right. And that's got to be a very large building then, pretty large building? To put tow trucks in there, I say? Okay. All right, And you use the whole space there for that particular business?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's see. I don't know, what kind of lighting do you have for, on the outside of the building, or do you plan for the outside of the building?
Regular LED lights.
On the
Motion
outside of the
detected.
building?
Yeah, motion detected.
Motion detectors, I
Yeah.
remember that now from
Yeah.
the last hearing, thank you. Now, I have this kind of a strange question to ask you, but before we did our site visit, did you take anything out of that building and move it so we wouldn't see it?
What would I have in there that,
I have no idea.
there's no
but
doors?
I'm just asking.
What would you put in there? I mean,
I'm just asking the
still under
question.
construction, no, man.
Okay,
Absolutely not.
all right.
I mean, if I did, they probably have photos, right?
I have no idea,
I
probably,
would think
you
so.
know? So,
Seems like they got photos of everything else.
right. I think that we probably have enough information to make our decision. Do you have any additional questions, members?
Yeah, I'd like to,
Yes,
I'd
I
like
will
to,
get-
hold on, can I speak?
Oh, I asked you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as far as packaging, I don't do packaging. I'm just straight wholesale. I
So how
had
do you take the product to the distributor?
in a big Ziploc baggie.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yep, and then put it in a bag and it has to lock it in your car,
Oh, yeah, I assume.
transport it to the dispensaries.
Okay. And so how much will you produce? How much do you think you'll produce?
I can't give you that. I wouldn't know. Every grow is different. Every harvest is different.
You must have some
Like
idea.
gardening in your gardening outside. You either have a good tomato year or you don't.
Yeah, but that's
know.
subject to rain and sunshine. This is not. So you must have some estimate of how much product is going to be produced, or you wouldn't put all this money into this. I mean, this guy has to be an expensive proposition here.
It's very expensive.
Yeah, and so,
So I would like to produce at least 30 pounds
how often?
every 60 to 90 days. Every strand is different. It grows differently. Takes a longer time.
So, and I just want to clarify and make sure, you are the only person that's going to work this?
Yes, ma'am. At this time, yes.
And in the future, what might change your mind? You get tired of
Grow
doing
this
it?
size, if I needed one more person, that would max me out.
Okay.
Not like it's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week thing.
Yeah, well, that's what except that you said there was some time when the lights were shut off,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. You can't be in there with the lights, because that'll affect the plant.
Right. Okay, so the lights are on, but you're not in there with them, or whoever.
Every day, no.
And do you plan on wearing protective gear while you work?
Yes, you have to.
Yeah,
It's called scrubs, just like a nurse would wear.
yeah, but some sort of facial covering or something like that?
Yeah, just a regular facial mask that you paint with.
All right, I'm sorry, go ahead and finish what you're saying.
So I would just be a wholesale. So as far as noise outside, they're just heat pumps or mini splits.
Right,
Many people have them in the neighborhood. I don't hear them. I have 4 at my house, just my regular house, so it's the same amount that I would have on the grow facility. It's no different. Yeah, I probably jumped the gun a little bit. I did file the permit prior to pouring the concrete. I just did not wait for all the extra days. I guess you're supposed to wait for permits. I'm not gonna deny that. I did include the upstairs in the first drawing, but I didn't include the stairs to get up there. That's my fault. To me, it was a new building. You would think that you would have stairs go up, right? So it would have been the first question before I made the payment, maybe? I don't know. Adding to the structure, I don't think set of stairs is adding to the structure. I mean, it's access, whether it's inside or outside.
Well, it's a little different because
Yeah,
inside
well,
your
no,
take-up space.
It's not different. I'm building a grow facility. I'm not building a home.
Right.
You know, so we don't want to carry what's downstairs, upstairs. That's not how we want to work.
You don't carry what? Downstairs or upstairs or
I
whatever?
needed the space inside.
Inside, yes,
So the stairs
I-
would have took up the
Okay, I
amount of
understand
space
that.
that the outside has. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So to me, that's not really adding to the building. Either they're inside or they're outside. Set of stairs, a set of stairs.
Well, it does add space
As far as the
inside.
signs go, the bus go back to the stairs. I didn't finish the stairs until Monday. So, whatever. And I believe Friday I was approved, or the permit was approved, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken, but big words throw me off. As far as the signs go, I really got sick of people coming in my yard. So as of Tuesday night, I look out and there's 3 people with flashlights in my yard. I got dogs. I don't need that shit at 9 o'clock at night at all. So yeah, the following morning I went out and took them all down. I had 5 for one building. No, excuse me, 6 for one building. One building, 6 permits. It's ridiculous.
6 people, I guess, working on it.
Excuse me?
I'm sorry, what did you say? You had 6 what?
6 permits for that one building that you.
Oh, okay.
Please.
Sorry, I didn't hear.
Yeah. So yeah, that, I took those down on Tuesday. I did take the signs down. I'm just sick of bad enough I have to stand in my yard and watch everybody stare at my building, and take pictures, and do whatever else they feel necessary to do because I built a building on my property. Sorry.
Okay. Well, is that all you have to say?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Sir? Yes. Would you like to make a statement? Identify yourself, please, for the record.
I will surely do that. Richard Smyrski Jr., 3 Butterfly Avenue. I'd like to make a couple of comments, points. So, as I stated in the previous meeting, I have some experience in the construction industry. So, one of the questions I had was in the attachments that was submitted by the city after the site visit, it stated that on March the 14th, there was an inspection done, and it was the pre-drywall inspection, which, from my understanding, the pre-drywall inspection, it means that the building's framed, insulated, wiring is complete, and it's ready for the wall finish. At our site meeting, or site inspection, I was surprised to go inside and see that it was just bare frame. There was no drywall, there was no insulation, no wiring, none of that was performed. So I'm just questioning why the permit or the inspection passed without any of that to be done or have been completed.
I don't have an answer.
Yeah, that's more addressed to the zoning administrator and the building inspector. Because it seems to be that there's an error made in the approval process here. Secondly, I was going to kind of reiterate a point I brought up on the last meeting as well. Mr. Watkins did provide us with the plan that has the attic truss, and it gives the area of the second story, which is 16 feet wide, which would be 16 by 32. So that's adding 512 square feet to the footprint. And the contended stairway is 162 additional square feet. And you can't discredit that because there's no way to access the second floor without a stairway. So it's integral to the structure and needs to be calculated in the area. So based also on the information that Andrew provided today about a secondary accessory unit in the primary residence, discrediting some of the square foot area, I believe that the actual square footage of the home business is 28.3%, which is in excess of the 25% that was stipulated in the home business ordinance. So under that calculation, I believe the the permit should be revoked. And then one last point I'd like to make is in the ordinance 31-403, subsection number 8, it claims that the home occupation shall be limited to an average of 10 hours of active operation per day. As Mr. Watkins stated, it's a 24/7 operation. If we kind of equate this to accounting office or, again, a beauty salon, hairstylist, in my opinion, the business gets opened at the morning, unlock the door, you go, you work your shift, you leave, you lock the door behind you. So that's the hours of operation. Now, if Mr. Watkins agrees to run his business from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and then from that time after turn the power off and not operate until 14 hours later, then that's fine too. But I don't believe his idea is to limit the amount of hours that the operation is active. So I would state also for the appeal that based on that, we would discredit this permit. I mean, if you think about it, there's going to be lights running, there's going to be pumps, there's going to be filters, there's going to be ventilators, everything's going to be running 24/7, so that's not a 10-hour operation, that's a 24-hour day. And it doesn't fit in the equation. So based on those 2 points, I think the permit should be revoked. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Watkins, would you like to respond to that?
Thank you. Give me a few minutes, I guess, there might.
Pardon?
No,
No?
it's everything I responded to before.
Yes. Okay, state your name, please.
My name is Jayme Watkins. My name is Jayme Watkins. I am Fred Watkins' wife. So with the heat pumps and the filters and the lights, we all have homes. We all run, or some of us run heat pumps, and we all run lights, and we all run electricity. Do they make noise in your neighborhood? No. It's normal noise. You're not going to hear big, huge generators outside at 2 a.m. in the morning going, whoom. It's silent. It's like the ones that are attached to your home. It's a completely enclosed building. You won't see lights. You're not going to hear the filters running. None of that stuff is relevant to this. That's normal noise. I could complain when my neighbors are mowing their lawn. I could complain when somebody's repairing their house down the street and I hear tap, 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 or the sound of the mowers. It's not abnormal noise. It's not excessive noise. It is not noise pollution. You won't hear anything.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Respond to that?
Sure.
Okay. The point that I was bringing up was that without the 24/7 activity, the product would not grow. So it's not just heating your house because it's cold outside.
You heat with a heat pump?
No,
Of course I do.
Yeah, but they heat all night long.
Mr. Watkins, please sit down and let him finish. And what your wife said was appropriate, and we'll take it under consideration. I think that, I'm sorry, my brain is not here tonight.
Smyrski.
Pardon, what is your name?
Smyrski. Richard.
Smyrski. Okay, I'm sorry, I should have remembered that.
Understood.
The point that he's trying to tell us about is the fact that the ordinance says one thing, and it says that the operation shall be limited to 10 hours per day, the active operation. Now, the question for this board to answer is whether or not when you're not there, there's active operation.
Well, can I answer to that before you go any
Yes.
further? So if you own a store and you close at night, do you shut your coolers off? Do you shut your cameras off? Do you shut your nightlight off? No, the store still generates electricity. It's still keeping all the food in there cold, correct?
Yes,
Okay, well, there's nobody there
But
to monitor
generally-
that. There's nobody there to monitor the light. It's
but if you have a
It's no
store,
different.
if you have a store, okay, it's not a home occupation.
No, it's a business, right? Home occupation business.
But it's, the statute is different, okay?
Correct.
So, but I understand your point, and that's what this board will have to decide at some point in the future.
Our premise is that without the 24/7 operation, his product would die and it would not
Food
continue.
would spoil.
So it's in water, so there's pumps running.
We understand.
Okay.
Okay, we've got
Yeah,
it.
because like I say,
And
if-
we'll consider everything that everyone says.
I propose that if the power is turned on at 8 AM and turned off at 5, and then re-turned on at 8 the next morning, and off at 5 as a 10-hour shift, would he be successful? And I don't think that would work. And again, I think that's,
It's an unusual section of the ordinance. So. Anything else?
that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else outside the rail have anything to say that hasn't already been said? Anyone else over there that has anything to say?
I'll speak to the board.
And who are you?
My name is Brian Gates.
And what is your interest?
So I'm also an indoor cultivator.
And where are you an indoor?
I live in
cultiv-
Mendon,
Mendon.
and I also grow in a residential area.
And is your operation as large as Mr. Watkins?
Yes, larger. And we are not there, the lights are on 12 hours a day, but nobody's there all day, not even 10 hours a day. It would be ridiculous, I think, to ask anybody to shut off their electricity or their air conditioners for however long you may
That
want.
is not the question here, okay? And nobody is asking anybody to shut off their electricity. What the question is...
That's kind of what he was asking.
No, that's
You should
not.
shut it off.
No, he's looking at the, as I understand it, he's looking at the ordinance, which says that it's limited to 10 hours per day of active operation. And what we have to determine, this board has to determine, because it's part of our duty, to interpret this ordinance.
I understand.
So we have to interpret that section and what it means. And
So-
it doesn't, we understand how the operation works and
He's
how...
only going to work 10 hours a day in there. You can't take the plants out and kill them every night and put them back in.
No.
Doesn't make any sense, does it?
No,
I
it
don't
doesn't.
see why he couldn't work 10
But
hours a day.
we're looking at, did you get a home occupation permit?
I didn't need one.
And why was that?
Don't need one. Because it's really not a business. It's like growing tomatoes in your backyard.
Not quite, but that's all right. Thank you for your comments. We appreciate it. Okay. All right, we're going to adjourn this hearing, and we have 45 days to make our decision. And everyone on the list who has signed up will get a copy of the decision when we issue it. And anyone who is aggrieved of the decision, that means you don't like what we had to say, you can appeal it from 30 days from the date of the decision to the environmental court. Everybody understand? Okay. Thank you very much for your participation, and we'll get this permit out, or the decision out, as soon as possible. Thank you.